All right, in this video we want to talk about price discrimination. Price discrimination is charging different people a different price for the same product. A couple of reasons, a couple things to think about with price discrimination. The reason why sellers like price discrimination is they can make more money, and they do that by capturing buyer surplus. It's very hard to do because you have to keep buyers from buying low and reselling to other customers at a higher price. Let's look at an example of the Riyadh Pizza Company. Under perfect competition, we've got these 8 customers, and here's the highest price that each one of them would be willing to pay, from 40 down to 26 reals. Now, if your marginal cost was 29, what would you price and what would you sell? Well, remember, the rule is we keep selling as long as marginal revenue is more than marginal cost. In this case, if our marginal cost is 29, we'd want to sell the first one, the second, third, fourth, on until we've actually sold the 6th pizza. Mahmoud is willing to pay 30 for that pizza. It only costs us 29. So we would stop after selling Mahmoud the pizza, because our next customer, Sultan, is only willing to pay 28. Our cost is 29. We wouldn't make that pizza for Sultan because he wouldn't be willing to pay at least our marginal costs. Remember, the rule again is that we sell until our marginal revenue is, we continue to sell until our marginal revenue is more than marginal cost. Now, the reason that we couldn't price this, the price is actually set by the last buyer. In this case, it would be the price that Mahmoud was willing to pay at 30. And the reason that we have to set the price at 30 is because if we set it at a higher price, all of our customers would go to the competition. And under perfect competition, remember that's the rule. You had many buyers and many sellers. There are lots of other sellers there as well, and their marginal costs are very similar to ours, so everybody would be looking at that $30 or that 30 real price as being the market that they would sell. Now we've got to ask ourselves, what kind of profit do you make here? Well, the profit is actually the difference between marginal revenue and marginal cost for each one of those customers. The little green box represents that profit. If it's costing me 29, I sell for 30, I'm essentially making 1 real per pizza. To total that up, we've sold six pizzas, and our profit is 1 per pizza, 1 real per pizza, so our total profit's 6 reals. Our total revenue, we've sold 6 pizzas and we priced them each at 30, so our total revenue is 180. Our costs, 6 at 29, would be 174, so our profit would be 6. All right, now we've understood perfect competition, how it works. But notice here that we have these customers that Mahmoud was willing to pay 30, but all of the customers before him were willing to pay more than 30. And the idea is, how do we capture the buyer surplus that's there from those customers that were willing to pay more than 30 a pizza, but we only charge them 30. The way that we could do that is with a price discrimination. Remember that price discrimination is charging different customers a different price for the same product. So in this case, let's look at an example of monopoly with a price discrimination, where we can play this discrimination game here. So here's our demand curve and our demand for each one of our customers. There's our marginal cost curve at 29 again. Now, what we would really like to do is we'd like to charge different prices to each one of these customers based on what their demand is. So our first customer, Ali, what would you charge Ali? If you said 40, you would be correct. Remember, once we charge that first customer 40, we would then move on to the next customer and charge that second customer 38. Continue to charge each one of these customers a different price based on what their demand was. Note that they would continue to buy the pizzas because they value them higher than or equal to or higher than what the price is. So we're capturing all of that consumer or buyer surplus for ourselves. Clear down to the last customer, Mahmoud. Now the question is, how do we calculate profits? Well, we simply just calculate the profit per pizza. And note here that there's a different profit for each pizza. It varies. So to calculate total profit, we calculate the profit for each pizza and then add it up each one of those profits. And that would give us the total revenue. We'd actually have the total revenue from the price of each pizza. To get the profit, we could just deduct that cost. We remember that the cost is, our marginal cost is $29 per pizza. We've sold 6 of those, so our cost would be $174. We'd end up with a total profit of $210 minus $174, or $36. Does that make sense? Now, if we summarize this, under perfect competition, we would be charging $30 a pizza. We'd make 6 pizzas. Our total revenue would be $180. Our total cost would be $174. We would make 6 reals profit for that. If we were able to exercise price discrimination, our prices would range from 30 up to 40. We'd still sell 6 pizzas, but our total revenue now would move up to 210. Our cost would be the same at 174, but our profit in this case would be 36. Note that the difference here, no difference in the quantity, but our revenue is increased by 30. Our costs are the same, so our profit is actually increased from 6 to 36, or an increase of 30. All right, that is price discrimination.